the kind of like I did a previous wrap up for the digital marketing prior time that I presented, but this is a little bit more accurate. Some a few things has changed that I'm going to share with you. So, essentially, the goals for 2022 was to get four things ahead of everything else and focus on those and try to improve on them. One of them was the tracking and performance, creating an analysis, engagement management, social media improvements, and also increasing efficiency and um, providing the ability for the team to be able to get more things done. So for the tracking and performance, we created the data studio. We migrated the Glyval.com to Adobe sites, which gave us massive advantage in the development of things. And now we are more autonomous to get things done quicker and without really blocking the IT funnels. We also created social media improvements by focusing on pivoting strategy, focusing on engagement management, and also implementing new ways, implementing reels and short videos that are more engaging on social media. So we saw a lot of success there, and also for the engagement management in general. And I created this as a separate category because engagement management with social media, but also through different channels. It's really investing in user experience, bringing new technologies to make the experience of the customer a little bit more seamless. Some of that was, for example, adding filters to the blog on the website, bringing seamless experience with the way that we are doing the QR code on the Glyval app, and also implementing new mediums through which we talk to our customers online. So for social media, again, implementing the reels, focusing on being a little bit more involved in the events and reflecting that on social media, but at the same time to create highlights that are going to keep that as like an evergreen content on social media, so that even if there is a new user, they're going to still be able to engage with that, really understand our story and learn what we do during these events. That way, when we are going towards our guiding leaders or for our symposium, the interest is constantly going to be there. Even with the ones that are not necessarily in our network, but they're still engaging as anonymous users with our brand. So previously, I said that we added the tracking because we were talking for a couple of years as social media being a brand awareness, mainly a brand awareness tool. Uh, we started as part of the pivot in the strategy, we started doing other things with social media. Along with that, we also added the tracking for the data studio for social media, which was done in November. When we looked at it 10 days after implementing Data Studio, we saw that that number was about 140 download RXs. But when we looked at it at the end of the year, there was a total of 891 conversions through social media. 244 of them were RX downloads, 151 of them were YouTube video watches. So someone going from social media to the YouTube to engage with our brand, and also 50 users that went in on the website and actually took a CE course. Of course, this is a collaborative effort across, the stakeholders, the education team, our design copy, and the digital marketing. So we can't really just take all the credit for this success, but I would say that now we understand that social media is a medium and a channel through which we can really look to convert users to take additional actions when it comes to our website, the landing page, and other means that we are engaging with. So you see that number is, of course, increasing across three main KPIs that we are um, tracking for social media: the audience engagement and also the viewership. All that is increasing compared to, or increased compared to 2021, and we see that number constantly improving into January of 2023 as well. Another wonderful channel, more of a direct communication and also short-term communication with our customers. Year-to-date results show that we had 20% conversion rate, which is really much, much higher than the average 10% conversion for the B2B space. There were a total of 104 clicks that came through emails to our landing pages. Out of that, we had about roughly about 22,000 conversions, and that was a breakdown between, download RXs, referring from a product to education, which is a huge deal or otherwise, and also the 1,000 people that actually went to the video pages and engaged. So that 1,000 is also a very interesting number because actually the 3,000 really, this section right here is very interesting because they're the indirect the indirect conversions of our email marketing effort. So usually as we are highlighting the promotions, the CE courses, the solutions in front of the customers, um, what we realize that some of them are going to our website, they're not really engaging with the content that we are putting out there, but that's a start of a conversation. Once they go to the website, after browsing around, they take a CE course, they watch a video, they engage with an article. At the end of the day, but with that movement, they take a final action that is related to that KPI. So with the emails that we send out, it's very important to look at 1,000 people that went indirectly and watched a video that they were not otherwise going to be um, 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 I lost the word there, but it's going to be available to them, or the 2,000 that indirectly went from a product to education, took a CE course, or from education went to a product and signed in to look at the price. So those are still indirect KPIs that are very important for sales and marketing funnel. Looking at our YouTube, there are some increases there. We went from 3 to 4 million views. So we added 1 million in the last month. 133,000 hours of total videos watched, and 26,000 of them was from US. Rest was from international. So we can say we are internationally famous as well. 130,000 subscribers total. That number also increased from 120,000, so that's very exciting. And as we can see, majority of the professions that are engaging with our YouTube are the general dentist, which is our main base of audience. So that's a wonderful news there. And really, everything that we are talking about at the end of the day is to move the needle. And the only way to move the needle is to uh, change the minds of the customer, by creating brand trust and also influencing their brand preference. So we are constantly going to improve on this, and we're going to bring new tactics and strategy to change these two, because once that's successful on the digital space, then we're going to be able to see much success with our across our brands and products. Now, this is the part that I'm going to get back to that slide, but I want to show a couple of things first because it's related to first party data. So looking at the web marketing previously, we were going through the attributed revenue. and we saw some numbers going down. The year to date actually decreased by 18%, and I refer to that as a temporary problem because it was some of them was due to the migration, some of it was due to the algorithm changes on Google. And what we see here is exactly that, a temporary problem, because when we were looking at the mean traffic over here, it's increasing, and the increase now, we can see it across the pages with the CE courses over here. I apologize, not CE courses. This one. I guess I forgot to put a highlight over here of the pages that I was going to talk about, but it was, I believe, the Send case, and also it was the CE courses, and it was some another page on the implant solutions, which was essentially when we were looking at month of January year over year, you could see an increase happening there. So it's great news. The temporary problem is slowly fading away as we are putting more content on the website, and also once as much as we are getting that SEO organic juice back on the website with the archived articles. And we are going to constantly see that shift happening across the year, so I'm very excited about that. Uh, the web projects that were accomplished, many of them happened during 2020 too, but there were few that I wanted to discuss and highlight because I think it's bringing the most impact in terms of user experience. One of them was the launch of the digital price list. As year to date, we had 24,000 engagements with the price list. So the users are constantly looking at this. And when I was looking at the average time spent on site, it was about 2 minutes. So that's a very healthy average time and spent on site, especially with a list like this. Another one was the symposium website where we are looking at the number. We see a total shift from the previous website, and that engagement is due to the user experience, but at the same time, the speed on the website. So we're going to monitor this website and see how much more changes and improvements we can make in the future. But this is a really exciting thing that I wanted to share with you. And then also Latin America website, we finalized the Mexico website last year, and we see a 150% increase in their page views, went from 103,000 for the total year to 258,000. So that's a great improvement across that website as well, and we want to replicate that, of course, to Costa Rica and Colombia in the future. Um, and then through Data Studio, we can also look at the conversion types. So when we're looking at the brands across the board, we had 50,000 total views that came for a purpose on our website. And out of that, we had 40,000 in conversions. That's a great movement through the funnel. Majority of them came from email or direct being, that they had they had the website link and they typed it in the browser, which shows that our branding is working. And also, we see that social media, this number was at around 1% last year. So we brought it we brought it up to 13%. And we're going to see this number growing as well, since because of that engagement strategy that I was referring to. A majority of the conversions were from like an internal product to product movement or and downloaded RX. So both of these are very important. Download RX for the direct conversion, and product to product for the cross-sell marketing. And before I go into this now, I want to dive back into this revenue attributed. So we see, I previously showed this and it was a 18% decrease. When I was looking at the numbers this time around, we actually found that the factor is somehow we lost the tracking in October of 2022. And when I dived into it a little bit more, I realized that the tracking policy across all these um, third-party softwares are changing. So Google Analytics is bringing on GA4 right now, and what GA4 does is it's kind of limiting the amount of data that we can capture through Data Studio. Some brands are going to recognize that very, very soon, including .io. You might see no changes or improvements in your Data Studio information or in your conversions. Some will see it as we get closer to July 1st deadline with GA4. Along with that same thing with Amplitude, where, the shifts that they're making in their software due to the alignment with the new policy changes is causing some limitations in how much we are going to be able to see in the future. Now, one part of it that one solution to this is, of course, spend money to, bring in more solution, spend hours on development to connect data sources from GA4 to different places to finally get the same result. Or, as I was talking about it, really invest in connecting and improving on our first party data. And the first party data really comes to making sure that the interaction history works. If we are having a lead gen effort that is connected to the data warehouse, and finally everything is kind of connected and centralized in a way that they're speaking to each other. That should be the ultimate goal because it's going to save the company a lot of money in terms of future development. And also it's going to give us the autonomy so that we don't have to shift and change every time one of these third-party softwares decide to change their policy or come up with a new way they want to a new dashboard of some sort or any sort of backend improvement or um, changes that they want to make on their end. So more on that later. I think it's going to be a big conversation that needs to happen, but ultimately, the way that I see it is really heavily investing in the first party data and not be reliant on these third party companies. I previously showed this December. We added the archived articles and created the table component for which then we gained the ability to work on the migration of the price list. So that's going to be part of the global realm now. And we're also working on the global tour. We created the user flow for that, and now we're going to start the projects to slowly and gradually get into the first phase, which is going to be essentially using the job form, and the next phase after that, utilization of the Calendly and automation. We're still working on the CCPA policy. This is going to take a bulk of our hours because we have to update the policies across all satellite labs and the global website. We need to integrate with OneTrust, which is the third-party solution that we are going to use for CCPA requirements. And then we have to also develop that across satellite labs and Global Direct, Symposium, and all the digital assets and websites that we have consumer facing. So that all pushed Latin America website for Costa Rica and Colombia into Q2 now. That's when we're going to tackle that, and the phase 2 of the global lab tour. Hopefully this is going to be tackled even sooner once we get the CCPA out of the way. And then the Pega integration with the website for direct engagement. HON migration is something else that we probably can take care of sooner rather than later. And then we're gonna work on the new implementation of the customer flow, which automates the recognition of the customer when they want to fill out a new customer form and directly tie them to an account, or having them be suggestive about them creating their account and not really wait for the customer service along the journey. And then finally, all goes well, we're gonna focus on the global e-commerce and the POS activation on global dental website.